I normally say this closer to the end of videos, but can you please like and share this video? This video is about active missing person cases, and the more people who see it, the more likely someone who knows something about one of them will see it and call in. Please like and share the video now to help more people see it. Now let me tell you who we'll be talking about today. This is Dark PA, where we talk about the darker side of my beautiful state. Today we'll cover 7 active missing person cases. First is the 37-year-old special needs Candice Caffas, who has been missing from Meadville in Crawford County for over 2 years. Then we'll look at 63-year-old Deborah Sue Daniel, who also went missing from Meadville just 1 month after Candice. After that, we'll take a rapid-fire run through 4 people who've gone missing since March of this year. And finally, the now 47-year-old Maria Nina Miller, whose life took her from the Philippines to rural Pennsylvania and then on to the FBI's missing persons list. Scenic, rural, Crawford County's north border is Erie County. County seat is in Meadville, which has about 12,000 permanent residents. It's also where Candice Caffas went missing. On July 15, 2022, Carol is at home with her husband and her special needs daughter, Candice. Candice and Carol share a bed due to Candice's needs. They go to bed around 10 p.m. just like any other night. At 3:07 a.m., Carol is woken by a noise and realizes that Candice is not in bed next to her. Carol quickly discovers that Candice has gone to the bathroom and locked the door behind her. This raises alarm bells. Due to Candice's special needs, access to food and other items must be strictly controlled for Candice's health and safety. At night, all the keys are locked in the bathroom, and the bathroom key is placed such that John and Carol do not think Candice can access it. They do not limit her access to the bathroom. She sleeps with her mother so that she can just wake her up if she needs to go. Unfortunately, Candice can and does reach the bathroom key. John, Candice's father, and Carol break the door in and find that the screen has been knocked out of the window and Candice has climbed out. Part of the reason Candice needs round-the-clock observation is because her Prater Willie causes her to take off inexplicably. This is not the first time Candice has done something like this. We'll talk more about Prater Willie and Candice's background later. At 3:11 a.m. on July 16th, Carol and John call 911. Carol stays home to wait for the police as instructed, while John immediately begins looking for Candice. The situation is made even more dire by the fact that Candice also has scoliosis and osteoporosis. I got this very detailed information from Carol. I reached out to Carol to inform her that I was making this video. I asked if she had some pictures and or information that she would like to share with me. She provided both. I have 5 missing posters and over 20 photos from her, as well as some comments. So that's why we've been keeping Candice's face on the screen this entire time. If you even think you might have any information that could help bring Candice home, please call 814-332-6911. This is the first missing poster Carol provided to me. Candice is 37, 4 foot 9 inches tall, weighs 95 pounds with sandy blonde hair and green eyes. She has scars from surgery on her right elbow and shoulder. She wears prescription glasses, a blue metal frame pair at the time of her disappearance. Her front teeth are missing. Due to her Prater Willie syndrome, it is estimated that she has a cognitive age of 10 to 12 years old. When last seen, she was wearing a purple t-shirt, floral print shirts, and purple-blue sneakers. The clothes are pictured on the bottom of the poster on the screen right now. Her last known sighting was between 5:30 and 5:45 a.m. on Route 285 by the railroad tracks at State Game Land number 213 between Geneva and Canal Lake, which is 10 to 12 miles from Meadville depending on the route a person takes. 3 people report seeing her 4 times that morning. Before we get to the information Carol provided on Candice's history, let me tell you a little more about Prader-Willi syndrome from the National Library of Medicine. In infancy, Prader-Willi causes poor appetite and feeding difficulties, which transition into excessive eating and morbid obesity without strict dietary controls in place. Developmental milestones are delayed and cognitive impairment is guaranteed. Genital underdevelopment and failure to complete puberty are common. People with this disorder are known to display behavioral issues such as temper tantrums, stubbornness, manipulative behaviors, and others. It is a genetic disorder. Prader-Willi affects 1 in 10 to 30,000 people, that is 120 to 300 U.S. children per year. Candice was not able to care for herself and had DSP, or direct support personnel workers, about half of the day on weekdays. The rest of her care was provided by her parents. Here is the information Carol provided when I asked if she could give me more details to pass along which might help bring Candice home. She left home on 7/12/22 and was found in 2 hours. All she would say was that she wanted to go to Meadville. We live 3 miles from Meadville and her staff and her went to Meadville every day. She left home before that when she was 15. It took 6 hours to find her and she was found in a house that was being built. She would never say why she took off. She was an inpatient at the Children's Institute in Pittsburgh. They had the only Prader-Willi unit in the country. She was 11 years old the first admission and there for 49 days. Second admission was when she was 13 for 66 days. She left the institute and was found in East Liberty, about 2 miles away, a few hours later, when she knocked on a lady's door and told her she was from Meadville and my mom dropped me off here. The lady called police who told her to keep Candice there. They were looking for her. She never said why. I've talked with other parents of Prader-Willi kids whose kids take off all the time. No one seems to know why. It's just part of the syndrome. We never went to Geneva, so I'm sure she had no idea where she was. I'm sure she was standing there waiting for us to find her and bring her home. What happened to her is the hell we are living through. Oh, fuck. What happened to her is the hell we're living through. My daughter has special needs. When she was 10 to 16 years of age, she would disappear about once a month in the summer. We would find her bike laying somewhere without her. Every time we found her pretty quickly. She fixates on dogs. She would see one and be gone after it without a second thought. Every time this happened, those moments were times of abject terror for her mother and I. Every worst thought possible rushing through our minds while we try to keep our wits and find her. After the 10 to 15 minutes finding her took, I would sleep for hours to recover. Every single time. I cannot imagine that going on for 2 years. My heart truly breaks for all of Candice's loved ones. Carol also stated, "Our whole lives revolved around Candice. We are just lost without her. We miss her so much. Thank you for sharing her." You're welcome, Carol. Let's see if we can bring Candice home. Anyone whose child has special needs will affirm that the parents' lives do revolve around the child. I cannot tell you how many times I went to college or work on almost no sleep because Mary and I had been up all night working out how we could better help Allie. I offered Carol the opportunity to speak to you directly, and she declined. I'm having trouble writing and now reading this without crying, so I don't blame her. She did say, "No, but you can just say how much we miss her, love her, and want her home." I will not be making any guesses here. I will simply repeat that this 37-year-old woman who cannot care for herself has been missing for 2 years. Somewhere, someone knows something. If that is you, please call 814-332-6911. Carol has devoted her Facebook page to posting missing persons. Feel free to look up her profile and see if you can help find any of the people she has highlighted there. I do ask that you please do not all send her individual messages of support. It could easily get overwhelming. Instead, respond to the pinned comment below and I will be sure Carol receives your messages. She read this script before I recorded it and has the URL for the video. Please help us find Candice. That number once again is 814-332-6911. Almost exactly 1 month later, Deborah Sue Daniels went missing from the same town.
100 days have made me older.
As I said, Deborah went missing from the same area as Candice just 1 month later. There are significant differences in the cases. Deborah was 63 when she went missing. She traveled the 20 miles from her Holland Towers apartment to Edinburgh Manor where her mother was a resident on an almost daily basis. She did not own a car and would sometimes hitchhike back and forth. Deborah was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. The Meadville Police Department phone number is 814-724-6100. If you have any information that even might be helpful, please call. The rest of this report is taken directly from information provided by Deb's, that is what her family calls her, niece, Anne. Anne runs the Help Us Find Her group on Facebook devoted to finding Deb and getting justice for her. If you do report something to the police, please also post it here. The reason I'm saying this will be more than obvious by the time I'm done talking about this. Deb's normal habits included talking to friends and family several times a day. It was one of these friends that first raised the alarm when Deb went from contacting her several times a day to not contacting her for an entire day. The friend reached out to Deb's sister Jill at that point. After this, Jill returned to living her life, which included helping her own aging mother. A week later, Jill realized there was a real problem. Jill and Anne traveled to PA, contacted police, and asked for a wellness check. The two were allowed a brief look into the apartment and immediately noticed that Deb's backpack was open on the counter. As most people who regularly walk for transportation, Deb used this backpack like most women would use a purse. So the two knew Deb had made it back from Edinburgh Manor, which is the last place she was seen around noon on August 15, 2022. Holland Tower has video cameras outside of Deb's apartment, in the lobby, and on the front of the building, but none in the elevator/trash chute access area. Anne reports getting a weird vibe from the apartment complex ally. This feeling increased when it was learned that a man had entered Deb's apartment with a key the month before Deb's disappearance in the middle of the night. Holland Tower staff reported that some residents had keys to all the apartments so they could show apartments when the management was not available. Hey! Holland Towers! That's not cool, and I hope you have changed this policy. It was reported that the man entered Deb's apartment by mistake.
In the middle of the night, when he was only supposed to use the keys to show apartments.
And I'm getting a weird feeling about these people too. The police request phone records and video from Holland Towers. It wasn't surprising that Deb's phone was currently off. It had been a week since anyone heard from her, and cell phone batteries simply do not last that long. Anne and Deb's friend started searching along the path Deb took to and from Edinburgh Manor, stopping and checking for evidence and/or Deb at several places along the way. When they reached the manor, staff informs them that Deb had been there on August 15th and had her book bag with her when she left. The last time Deb is seen on footage from Holland Towers is the Friday before. Police operate under the assumption that the nurse has her days mixed up. Oddly, in 2022, Edinburgh Manor does not have any video surveillance. I've dealt with the Pennsylvania State Police my entire life. I would operate under the assumption that these particular officers are more interested in donuts than fighting crime. See the last episode of Dark PA where an Altoona man died because the entire Altoona Police Department was on another call, according to dispatch. Let's get back to what that footage showed. Deb was hanging out on a bench outside the building. A man drives up in a red sports car. Deb converses with him before leaving with him. The police have located this man and interviewed him. He is currently their only person of interest. While they know he left the state immediately after being interviewed and abandoned his car in a parking lot in Ohio, the Pennsylvania State Police are so interested in finding him that 2 years later they still haven't released his name or picture, resulting in the police having more time to eat donuts instead of tracing down leads. Remember, their number is 814-724-6100. Why not ask them for donut shop recommendations while you're reminding them to look for Deb? The police incompetence was apparent to Anne before she even came to PA. Ann had been posting information about the situation to Meadville groups in the hope that someone saw something, which one woman did. She reached out and told Ann that her mother's boyfriend may have been involved. Apparently, this man was recently released from jail and had gone off-grid with a jail friend known as Red, known to have a violent past. Another person reached out as well. There was also a Meadville notary public who was leaving comments on Ann's posts saying they were fake. When another poster publicly stated that this was in fact true, she backed down. But later, Ann received a call from an unknown PA number. The person listened for a few minutes and did not speak. Turns out it came from the office phone of the notary public where this person worked. All of this information was given to the police. I am certain the police did not actually use it for donut napkins, but only because it was provided digitally. Remember, their number is 814-724-6100. Why not point out that just because Deb and donuts start with the same letter, it doesn't mean that looking for one equates to looking for the other. Deb was known to frequent CHAPS, an establishment in Meadville where the disabled can find support, help, and community. Candice Caffas was not a frequent visitor but had friends who were. And so having a common place and the disappearances being exactly 1 month apart, Ann reports this to the police. The police did not believe there was a connection except for the one that chocolate icing was making on the Boston cream donuts, so Ann reached out to the FBI, who never responded. As of August 1st, 2024, I cannot locate a missing poster for Deb on the FBI website. Okay, at this point, I just have to say, thanks, Cube. Ann located an employee at the local mall who said that she had seen a van full of men in the area and she suspected they might be traffickers. The police reported that Dunkin' Donuts are always fresh. Once again, their number is 814-724-6100. The police have not been providing Deb's family with updates. There have been no obvious attempts to find out what happened. I already mentioned that Deb was bipolar. As with most bipolar people, Deb was known to go off her meds. A bipolar person who is not on their meds is highly likely to engage in erratic and self-destructive behaviors. So why are the police not looking into all these leads? Why are the police just sitting around eating donuts instead of looking for a missing elderly woman? Why are the Pennsylvania State Police a bunch of a**holes? Once again, her number is 814-724-6100. Sadly, Ann ended her telling of this by stating, "Our belief at this moment is that Deb either has been trafficked or she is deceased." And, barring a miracle, we're not really expecting closure in this case, unfortunately, and we have no idea what to do at this point. I told her that I sincerely hope they are able to bring Deb home. I also reached out to the Meadville Police Department for comment on both these cases. I left a voicemail for the sheriff informing him that his department was going to look really bad when this came out. I assume he ate donuts because he never called me back. Ann approved this script and was given the URL for this video prior to its release. Let's take a quick peek at some recent missing people in PA.
Tell me, when did you sleep last night?
Kalani Terry was last seen on Monday, July 24th, 2024 on the 400 block of Redwood Street in Susquehanna Township, leaving her home. She is 5'2" and of average build. Her hair was in braids as pictured at the time of her disappearance. If you think you have any information regarding her whereabouts, please call the Susquehanna Township Police at 717-558-6900. Once again, that's 717-558-6900. Paousman Diaw is believed to have run away from his Lower Paxton Township home on June 24th, 2024. Officially, Paousman and Kalani's cases have not been linked, but they lived less than an hour walk from one another and disappeared on the same day. Paousman was last seen on the 4500 block of Sequoia Drive in Harrisburg. He was wearing a black hoodie with red dots, black shorts, and sandals. He may be making his way to the Bronx in New York City. If you have any information on his whereabouts, please contact the Lower Paxton Township Police at 717-657-5656. Once again, that's 717-657-5656. 25-year-old Matthew Whisman was last seen in March of 2024. Police were not notified of his disappearance until July 3rd. Police have ruled the disappearance as suspicious. Matthew is described as 5'8" tall, weighing about 155 pounds with dark brown hair. He is of white Hispanic descent. Don't judge, it's what the police put in the report. He was last seen in East Drumore Township and has ties to Lancaster and Maryland. If you think you have any information on his whereabouts, please contact Pennsylvania State Police at 717-299-7650. Once again, that number is 717-299-7650. Sahkyira was last seen on the 2000 block of North 22nd Street in Philadelphia. She is 14 years old, 5 foot 6 inches tall, 190 pounds, and was last seen wearing a black shirt with Lenfest written on it. She has black hair and brown eyes. If you think you have any information on her whereabouts, please contact the Central Detective Division at 215-686-3093. That number, once again, is 215-686-3093. Our last in-depth case for today is Maria Nina Miller. Maria was born August 28, 1976 in the Philippines. Her son Lester still resides in the Philippines. Maria's entire family lives in or near the Philippines. She married a U.S. military man named Kenneth Miller in Quezon City on October 18, 2000. It wasn't long after this that Kenneth's deployment ended. When that happened, he changed his MOS to recruiting and was assigned to Virginia Beach. Over the next several years, Kenneth became highly decorated within the recruitment branch of the Army. On the weekend of September 12, 2009, Kenneth was presented with the Glenn E. Morrill Medallion at a ceremony before the NASCAR Sprint Cup race at the Richmond International Speedway. I can't find any details surrounding how and why this award is earned. What I do know is that it is the highest award given by the recruitment office. It is given for excellence in recruiting and consists of a medallion, a ring, and certificates for the officer and their spouse, which might explain how Kenneth garnered an assignment in a recruiting office with no lack of applicants. In early 2010, Kenneth and Maria moved to Towanda, Pennsylvania, so he could start his new assignment in the recruitment office in Bradford County. I talked about Bradford County in the first episode of Dark PA. It's very rural, very poor, and very difficult for a young person to escape from. That is, unless they join the military. Which makes it seem logical that it's pretty much a cake assignment for a recruiter, but Maria still works. Maria gets a job at the Dandy Minute Mart on Route 6 in Wysox. She works the overnight shift. It works out well for her because there's a 12-hour time difference between PA and the Philippines, so she can while away all the hours the store is empty on the phone with her family, which is exactly what she does. She calls Lester, her son, on February 4th into the 5th of 2011 and tells him that over the next couple days she and Kenneth will be in West Virginia visiting his mother in the Charleston Area Medical Center. The last reported sighting of Maria is when she got off work on February 5th, 2011. After this, she traveled to West Virginia with Kenneth in the couple's Chevy Cobalt. Agents believe she traveled through Somerville in the Beckley area, West Virginia, on that same day. Kenneth reports that he and Maria traveled to the hospital and parked. Once they were in the parking lot, the two began to fight. This culminated in Maria insisting that Kenneth take her to an apartment in the Virginia Beach area and drop her off, which he claims to have done. However, he can't provide any details about specifically where the apartment is or who lived there at the time. Never mind that he had lived in that area for 7 years and left just 1 year before. But sure, he's got no idea where he was. Right. Police state that Kenneth has been cooperative. Kenneth states that he provided his cell phone and allowed searches of his property and vehicle. He claims to have no knowledge of what happened to Maria after he dropped her off or where she is today. Police refuse to make any comments about Kenneth, including whether or not he is a person of interest or a suspect, which means they haven't cleared him yet. Somewhere, someone knows something. Remember that liking, sharing, and commenting on this video, even if it's to tell me how much my voice sucks, helps spread the message. But expect a sarcastic response to comments about things I can't control.
Little child.
There are many reasons a person, be they adult or child, can go missing. These include kidnapping, murder, running away, and mental disability. We can put a stop to most of these. Why don't you go ahead and tell me your thoughts on this video in a comment while I explain that last sentence. We need to make quarterly medical checkups compulsory from everyone from 0 to 36 months of age. We need to make staggered semi-annual medical and psychological checkups compulsory for everyone from 3 to 18 years of age. Compulsory means that if an appointment is missed completely, the parental rights are removed from all legal guardians of the child immediately, permanently, and irrevocably. You can use religion as an excuse for child neglect when we let the Mormons practice polygamy. After all, their scriptures out and out say they're supposed to in Doctrine and Covenants 132. Look it up. It gets every child with an adult they can trust, whose job it is to ask questions and report abuse every 3 months. This will almost completely stop child abuse immediately. Child abuse is the most commonly cited predictor of serious mental illness in later life. Preventing the predictor might not fix the problem, but it makes it a lot less severe. Additionally, it will significantly increase early detection and treatment of mental illness. As the mentally ill are significantly overrepresented among violent criminals, this will significantly reduce violent crimes within 1 generation. Our society is broken and we need to start fixing it. This is my idea and this video is my commercial. Thank you for watching. Now why not help spread the message and share it? Even if you only share it to an Instagram account with 2 followers, if you use the share button, YouTube sees that and shows the thumbnail to more people. Thank you again for watching. Until next time, lock your doors. Unless you're sure the next door neighbor didn't need unreceived mental health attention as a child. Also, if you let the credits roll while you go potty and get a drink for your next video, the watch time will help YouTube to push this video.
What have we become? Just look what we have done. All that we destroyed, you must build again. No more presidents, and all the wars will end. One united world under God. When the children cry